back to another video of LeetCode Daily Challenge Streak series, and in today's video we have a new question that says divide array into arrays with max difference. Now let's try and understand the question. You're given an integer array nums of size n and a positive integer k. Divide the array into one or more arrays of size 3 satisfying the following conditions. Each element of nums should be exactly in one array. The difference between any two elements in one array is less than or equal to k. Now let's understand this with an example. You'll be given an array, okay? And you'll also be given a value k such that you're supposed to divide these elements in the array into sub-arrays of 3 elements each. Okay, for example, if you have 1, 3, 4, 8 and 7 and 6. Now remember that the constraint given in the question is the given array, as in the given nums array or whatever array is given, that will be of the size 3n. Why 3n? Because they asked us to return the arrays of 3 elements each. Okay, every array will contain only 3 elements. So definitely by default the number of elements given in the original array will contain 3 into n elements. Okay, now as in the multiple of 3. Now you are given this array. You're supposed to divide this given array into arrays such that every array should have only 3 elements. Now what is the condition to drop every element in a particular array? The difference between any two elements must not exceed the value k. Now let's just randomly put any 3 elements into these arrays. So let's take 1, 3 and 4, and let's put 8, 7 and 6. Okay, let's see the difference for each element without arranging it in any way. Now given k is equals to 2. Now for every element, let's check. Is 3 minus 1 2? Yes. Is 4 minus 3 within 2? Yes. Is 4 minus 1 3? Is it within 2? No, it's not within 2. It's greater than k. So anytime there occurs an array where any two elements difference is greater than k, you should return an empty array, meaning the condition didn't satisfy and you should return false. But this is not how we solve it. This is not directly how we randomly put elements into arrays. We have to follow a certain technique where we can divide the elements into these arrays. Now, how do we do it? Now, if you carefully observe, we are asked that between any two elements, among any two elements, the difference should not exceed k. Now, if the difference should not exceed k, for example, we have two arrays, and I have 1, 2 and for example I'm taking 6 here, and in a different array I'm taking 4, 5 and 8, and my k value is equal to 2. Now I have 1, 2, 6 and 4, 5, 8, and my original array is 1, 2, 6, 4, 5, 8. Now what happens if I put 6 here? What happens if I put 6 here and not 4? If you carefully observe, the difference between 1 and 2 is 1. 2 and 6 is 4 and 6 and 1 is 5. It is high because the numbers that I chose for this array are not exactly right according to the question, because I need to choose elements that have lesser difference among their elements. That is only when the elements will have k. Difference k for all the given elements, correct? If the elements within the same array are nearer when compared to the other elements, that is when this condition will satisfy. If the same array were to be written in this way instead of this array, so say I write it in the order 1, 2, 4 and 5, 6 and 8, order doesn't matter here for now for the explanation. Let's just focus on the elements. If it's 1, 2 and 4 here, now let's check the difference. 2 minus 1 is 2, 4 minus 2 is 2, 4 minus 1 is 3. Now if you can see, it has improved, didn't it? The difference between the elements, it was earlier 5 and 4. Now it has come down to 3. Now why did it come down to 3? Because we chose an element that was nearer to other elements, correct? Now likewise, let's see here. What is 6 minus 5? It's 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. So the differences are within the mentioned k values, correct? Now this is because the elements that are arranged are nearer to each other. So for this, what do we have to do? I'm explaining all this just because we have to sort the array for us to see if these arrays of 3 elements each will have a difference of k. We need to sort the elements first. Only when we sort the elements we will be able to find the difference within k. Otherwise, obviously the difference between the smallest element and largest element within the same array will not be within k. Only the elements within some near range. If it's 1, 2 and 3, obviously my k value will be within 2 or equal to 2. If I have numbers like 1, 2 and 10, and if I put my 3 in a different array, obviously I won't get my answer. That is the whole point of the question. I can put the elements in any order. At the end of the day, I am supposed to return the k value that has to be less. I am supposed to return the arrays with the difference less than or equal to k. Now what will I do? Now let's take the same example and understand this by sorting mechanism. Okay, let me write this down. It is 1, 3, 4, 8, 7, 9, 3, 5 and 1. Now let me just sort these elements down. After sorting, what will I get? How many elements do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 elements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Now what elements? Let me sort it. So it's 1, 1 and then 3 and again 3 and then 4, 5 and 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. Okay, after sorting, this is how my array looks like. Now, since every sub array should only contain 3 elements, let's divide this into groups of 3. Okay, so this is my first array. Okay, my first array, and this is my second array, and this is my third array. Okay, this is my third array. Now, what is the k value that's mentioned? K value is equal to 2. Okay, so the differences between elements can be 2 or less than 2. So k is less than or equal to 2. K value must lie between 2. Okay, now let's check the difference among the elements. What is 1 minus 1? It is 0, so it is less than 2. Then what is 1 minus 3? It is less than 2 again because it is 2, less than or equal to 2. What is 1 minus 3? It is again 2. So this array has passed all the conditions. So we will have an extra answer array to return the answer, and we will append this particular array into this because it satisfied all the conditions. So it will be 1, 1 and 3. Now anytime this given condition fails, you will just return an empty array. You're not going to return the elements that the answer has. Like even if one array passed it, you won't return one array, because the question says even if one array is not able to, even if one element doesn't pass the condition, you're supposed to return an empty array, and that's what you will do. Now let's check with the different this thing. So 3, 4 and 5. 4 minus 3 is 1, 5 minus 4 is 1, 5 minus 3 is 2. So this also did pass. So what will be our second array? It will be 3, 4 and 5, correct? Now next, 7 minus 8. 7 minus 8 is 1, 8 minus 9 is 1, again 9 minus 7 is 2. So this also did pass. So 7, 8, 9. So since all these elements passed our given condition, we will return this as our array. Now if you look at it carefully, is it necessary to subtract for all the elements like 1 and 1, 1 and 3, 3 and 1, or 3, 4, 4, 5? Is it necessary to perform so many subtractions for one array to see whether it lies between k or not? If you see 1, 2 and 3, and if k is equal to 1, assume that k is equal to 1, this is a different example, and you want to see if the difference between each element is 1. If they are already in sorted order, and if you take the maximum and the minimum element, and if you check the difference, 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. Okay, if you see 3 minus 1 equal to 2, it means that it's a false condition, so you'll return. So let's take a different example for k is equal to 2 and 1, 2 and 3. And now let's take the maximum element of this array and the minimum element of this array. It is 3 minus 1, we will get 2. Now the maximum element and minimum element difference only is if the condition is only it passes, then is it not possible that the remaining elements will also have a lesser difference? Correct? Now if 3 minus 1 is 2, obviously when you go forward, 3 minus 2 difference will be much less than the k value, correct? It means that the condition will pass. So for every given array, if you just, for every 3 elements, okay, for every 3 elements, if you only check the difference between the maximum element and minimum element, and if the condition passes, and if you add all those 3 elements into an array, and if you keep doing it until you reach the end, you will get your answer, won't you? First, what did I say? First you will sort the array, then for every 3 elements, you will check the difference between, okay, for every 3 elements, difference between max and min element, okay, as in the 0th index and the second index for every. So if it's 0 1 and 2, 0 1 and 2, 0 1 and 2, you will always check the difference between the second element and the 0th element. And if it is k is less than or equal to 2, as in, I mean, the difference is less than or equal to the given k value mentioned, then you will keep appending it to the answer array, okay, then you will keep appending that particular array. You're supposed to return those elements in one array each. So you will array those, you will append those elements in each different arrays, correct? Now if you keep doing that, you can return it. And in case you encounter the k value to be greater than 2, you will immediately update the answer to be an empty array and return it. Because anytime if anytime the condition doesn't pass, you're supposed to return an empty array. So for that, you will directly update the answer to be an empty array and return it. Is it clear? So you're sorting the element first, and for every 3 elements, you're checking if the difference is less than or equal to k and returning it. Now what will be the time complexity of this thing? Since you're sorting all the elements and then going through all the elements from 0 to n to check the difference, the time complexity would be O of n log n, okay. Since you are performing sorting, the time complexity would be O n log n. Now what will be the space complexity? Since you are using an additional array answer which might contain all the elements if the condition passes, the space complexity would be O of. So let's quickly code this up. We have a function divide array given and nums array and the element k given, where we have to compare the differences for every element. Now what are we doing first? Now let's get the length of this particular array. N is equal to len of nums. Now next what are we doing? We are sorting the array. First step was to sort the array. So nums dot sort. Now after sorting, what were we doing? We were picking every 3 elements. For every 3 elements, we were checking the difference. And if the difference is within the limit of k, then we will append it to our answer array. So for the answer array, let's create a new array, okay. If you can see the output here, a new array is being created for to store the elements. So answer array. Next, what are we doing? We are iterating over the elements. So let me initialize this I value to 0 such that while I is less than n, okay, while I is less than n, what I am doing, if num of, since I am subtracting the maximum value, as in the second index with the 0th index. If I have 0 1 and 2, I am subtracting this second index with the 0th index, correct? I will take the maximum element, which is the second index. So num of I plus 2. If my I is here, okay, currently my I is here, okay. Now I am going to check the difference for all these elements. So what I'll do, I will take the second element. So this is I plus 1, I plus 2. So nums of I plus 2 minus nums of I is less than or equal to k. If this is less than or equal to k, what are we doing? We are appending answer dot append. We are appending what? We are appending I value, okay. We are appending nums of I value. Nums of I plus 1 and nums of I plus 2. We are appending these values into this array. But since we are sending this as an array, make sure you put those nums value into an array, okay. You create an array and then add this nums of I plus 1 and I plus 2, okay. Then what are you doing? Since you are done with 0 1 2, and next when you have 3 4 5, and currently your I is at 0, for I to go to 3 again, since if this condition passes, you won't check it for every element, correct? Now you will directly go to the next part of the, after 3 elements, you will shift your I value. You will increment your I value by 3 because you're sending I to this position. Now the next array, you finish 3 elements, you're sending I to the next position to check for the next array. So I will be incremented by 3. Else, what if it is greater than k? You are simply initializing this answer array to empty back again, and then you will return answer, okay. Now you will return this if this condition fails. What are you doing in the end? After this iteration is done, after all the elements are added into this, you will simply return answer again, okay. You will simply return answer again, okay. Did you understand? Now why I is less than n? Because we will go till the last element. Since okay, we will go till the last element. If you have 0 1 2 and 3 4 5 and again 6 7 and 8, for you to go till here, you are supposed to finish the iteration for this and then this part and this part. I can't go beyond this value. If only these many elements are there, I can't go beyond 6, because if I plus is equal to 3, there is no next index again for you to start this process. So I is less than n, so I value will only stop till here, will check till here, and when I plus is equal to 3, since there is no next element, it will stop here only and exit out of this loop. Okay, now let's quickly run the code. It's accepted, and let's just submit it. Alright, this works. Okay, thank you guys.